All right, so today we're diving into an article with a title I just couldn't resist. How to Become a STAR LLM Engineer. Star emojis. Gotta admit, they had me at star. But catchy title aside, this piece actually makes some really interesting points about what it takes to really excel in the booming field of LLM engineering. So whether you're an engineer, a tech enthusiast, or just curious about the future of AI, I think there's something in here for you. One of the things I really appreciate about this article is it doesn't waste any time with fluff. It jumps right into practical advice. And one of the first things that stood out to me was the emphasis on using AI tools, not just to build cool stuff, but to actually boost your own productivity as an engineer. And they give some really concrete examples, focusing on 4 tools specifically: ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude Opus, and Perplexity. And it's not just about, oh, here are these tools. It's about understanding how these tools can fundamentally change the way you work. For example, they describe ChatGPT as the Google search of the 2020s. And yeah, at first I was like, okay, yeah, obviously. But then I started thinking about how I actually use ChatGPT. It's not just about getting answers. It's become this essential part of my workflow, like debugging code, translating languages on the fly. I even use it to schedule meetings across time zones, things I used to waste so much time on.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about, reclaiming that time and mental energy so you can focus on the really challenging, really interesting aspects of building the next generation of AI. Yeah. It's not about making individual tasks slightly faster. It's about fundamentally changing the way you work as an LLM engineer.
Yeah, it's that classic work smarter, not harder idea. But this article makes a really compelling case for how these tools are actually allowing engineers to do that. Although they also acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is, the AI landscape is changing so rapidly.
Yeah.
They actually quote Elon Musk, who said, AI is the fastest changing technology humans have ever invented. And he's got a point, right? It seems like every week there's some new breakthrough, some new model, some new paradigm to wrap your head around.
Which is exactly why they emphasize the importance of staying ahead of the curve. And one of the things they recommend is actually following thought leaders in the field, like Andrew Nag and Jan LeCun, on Twitter specifically.
I'll be honest, when I first read that, I was like, really? Twitter? But they make a good case for it. It's not about, scrolling through memes. It's about getting those direct insights, those early announcements, those predictions about where the field is going. It's like having a direct line to the cutting edge. And on that note of staying ahead of the curve, one of the things I really appreciated about this article is that it doesn't just focus on the technical aspects of LLM engineering. They also highlight the importance of using AI for your own personal upskilling, which I thought was brilliant. For example, they give this example of using GPT-4 to create a C++ tutorial. And look, I'm no coding whiz, but I was blown away by how GPT-4 was able to generate this concise, accurate tutorial like in seconds. And if it can do that for something as complex as C++, imagine the possibilities for learning, anything, right? From quantum physics to, ancient philosophy, the sky's the limit.
It really drives home the point that in the world of AI, the most important skill you can have is the ability to learn and adapt. That's what's going to set you apart in this rapidly evolving field. And it's not even just about keeping up with the new tools and techniques. It's really about cultivating the right mindset to thrive in this constantly evolving world of AI. And I think that's true for really anyone working in AI right now.
Yeah, and that's where this article really dives in, I think. It goes beyond just the technical skills and talks about these essential qualities that make a truly great LLM engineer. And some of them, when you first read them, they sound a bit abstract, like curiosity, resilience, mental flexibility. But then you really think about it in the context of AI, and you're like, yeah, actually, those are pretty spot on.
Yeah, take curiosity, for example. We often think of that as like a childlike sense of wonder, wanting to learn new things. But in the world of LLM engineering, it takes on a whole new meaning, right? It's about actively seeking out new information, challenging your assumptions, constantly pushing those boundaries of what's possible, because when you're working with technology this cutting edge, the answers aren't always clear-cut. You need that inherent drive to dig deeper, to ask not just what, but why and how.
It's like they say, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. And yeah, in this field, that's probably truer than ever. But it's not all about just asking questions, right? You need that resilience to keep going when things get tough, which I imagine happens a lot in LM engineering.
Oh, absolutely. Resilience is crucial in any field, but when you're talking about building complex AI systems, it takes on a whole new level of importance because, let's face it, it's not easy. You're going to run into roadblocks. You're going to hit those unexpected errors. You're going to have models that just refuse to cooperate. But the people who really excel in this field, they're not deterred by that. They see those failures not as setbacks, but as opportunities to learn and to grow. They're constantly iterating, refining, and pushing through that frustration to get to those aha moments.
So it sounds like it's a bit of a roller coaster, right? Exhilarating highs and probably some pretty frustrating lows.
For sure.
And that's where that third quality comes in, I imagine.
Yeah.
Mental flexibility, being able to adapt your approach as you go.
Exactly, and the article gives this really interesting example of this in the context of prompt engineering. Like, imagine you're trying to get an LLM to calculate the average of a set of numbers. Seems pretty straightforward, right? But it turns out, for some LLMs, that kind of direct calculation can be surprisingly difficult. But if you reframe the problem as a coding task, like you ask the LLM to write a program to calculate the average, suddenly it becomes much easier.
So it's not just about understanding AI, it's about understanding how to, communicate with AI in a way that gets you the results you need.
It's a subtle shift, but it makes all the difference. Because with AI, sometimes the most obvious solution isn't the best one. And it's those engineers who can kind of think outside the box, who can approach problems from these different angles, who are really going to unlock the true potential of this technology.
And it strikes me that these qualities, curiosity, resilience, mental flexibility, those aren't just valuable for LLM engineers. Those are skills that are becoming more and more important, like in all aspects of our lives, really, as AI becomes more integrated into everything we do.
You're absolutely right. We always hear those concerns about AI replacing jobs, but I think the bigger shift is going to be how AI changes the way we work, the skills we need to be successful, and cultivating those qualities, curiosity, resilience, and mental flexibility. Those are going to be essential for anyone who wants to thrive in this new world. It's not about fearing the rise of the machines. It's about embracing the opportunity to work alongside them, to learn from them, and ultimately to shape the future together.
Okay, so we've talked about the tools and the mindset, but now let's talk about some of the myths surrounding AI and LLM engineering. Because let's be real, there's a lot of hype out there, and sometimes it's hard to separate fact from fiction.
Yeah, it's like every time there's a new technological leap, everyone's got an opinion, and not all of those opinions are based on, reality.
Exactly. And this article does a great job of calling out some of those myths directly.
It really does. And I think it's so important to address these misconceptions because they can really hold people back from getting involved in this exciting field.
100%. So should we just dive right into some myth busting?
Let's do it.
All right, myth number 1. Learning about classical machine learning is useless now because generative AI is all the rage. I mean, it's easy to see where that's coming from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Generative AI is so hot right now, it can feel like everything before it is obsolete.
Right, but it's just not true. While generative AI is amazing and obviously getting a ton of attention, it's important to remember that it's still built on the foundations of those good old-fashioned machine learning concepts. Those core principles like generalization error, precision, and recall, they're still the backbone of AI, even for these cutting-edge generative models.
It's like saying, we have electric cars now, so understanding how combustion engines work is pointless.
Exactly. You still need that fundamental understanding to really troubleshoot problems, to fine-tune models, to really push the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
It's about having that deep knowledge of how things work under the hood, even as you're building these amazing new things on top of it.
100%.
Okay, myth number 2. And I have to admit, a part of me kind of hopes this one is true. You don't need to learn how to code because AI will do it all for you soon. I mean, who wouldn't want their own personal AI coder, right?
Right. But as much as I love those AI coding assistants like Copilot and Devin, of course, is incredible, they're not about to make human programmers obsolete just yet. It's not about AI versus humans, though. It's about AI augmenting human capabilities.
Yeah, it's like they say AI won't replace your job. A person using AI will.
Exactly. Think of it more like AI giving programmers superpowers, automating those tedious tasks, suggesting code, helping you write better code faster, but you still need a human in the driver's seat, so to speak.
It's like having a superpowered assistant that can help you be a better, more efficient programmer. Okay, myth number 3. Forget about Google search. AI is all you need now. And I'll admit, I've definitely found myself using ChatGPT to answer quick questions more and more. But is Google really going extinct?
Not so fast. I think Google's got a few good years left. AI chatbots are definitely super useful, for quick answers, brainstorming, even drafting emails. But they do have their limitations. For one thing, they can be prone to making stuff up, those hallucinations we talked about earlier. Not ideal when you need accurate information.
Yeah, there's a big difference between a chatbot spinning a good yarn and actually giving you reliable information.
Exactly. And the other thing is, their knowledge is only as good as their last training data dump. So if you're looking for something super current, like breaking news or the latest developments in a rapidly changing field, you're probably better off sticking with Google, at least for now.
It's about using the right tool for the job, right? And sometimes that old school tool is still the best one for the job.
For sure. Okay, myth number 4, and this one always makes me feel a little insecure. You need to be a math genius to understand AI. Like, I'm talking advanced calculus and beyond.
Right. I feel like I need to go back to school and get a PhD in theoretical physics just to understand how my spam filter works sometimes.
Yeah, but honestly, you don't need to be the next Alan Turing to wrap your head around AI. Sure, a strong math background is definitely helpful, especially if you're developing those cutting-edge algorithms, but it's not a requirement for everyone working in the field. It's more about having that logical mindset, a passion for problem solving, and a willingness to learn.
So it's less about being a math whiz and more about being a curious and adaptable learner. That's good news for a lot of people, I think.
Definitely.
Okay, last myth. And we hear this one all the time with new technologies. It's too late to get into AI. The market's already saturated.
Oh, if I had $1 for every time I've heard that one. Look, we're still in the very early stages of this AI revolution. The demand for talented people in this field is only going to keep growing.
It's like saying it was too late to get into, web development back in the 90s.
Exactly. If you're passionate about AI, don't let this myth hold you back. There's so much room for innovation, for creativity, for new perspectives. The best time to get involved might have been yesterday, but the second best time is now.
I love that. All right, so to wrap things up, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've talked about the practical tools, the essential qualities of successful LLM engineers, and of course, busted some of those persistent AI myths.
And hopefully our listeners walked away feeling a little more informed, maybe a little more inspired to dive into the exciting world of LLM engineering themselves. Because at the end of the day, the future of AI is not something to be afraid of, it's something to be shaped. It's about understanding the power and the limitations of this technology, and then using that knowledge to build a better future.
Absolutely. Well said. And on that note, this has been another exciting deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those big questions. You never know what amazing AI-powered future we might create together.